So we're live streaming. And yep, the live stream's going. Check to see it's working properly. So welcome to all those folks from asksbdc.com who are joining us there. Excellent. All right, so Scott, off you go.
Awesome. Well, good morning, everyone. Happy Monday. Hope you all had a great weekend. We finally made it. This is our 30th session. I guess we have one more to go, full 31 days for the long months. But happy June 15th. This is our Northern California SBDC, Small Business Development Center's CARES update, live Q&A. We do this every Monday, Wednesday, Friday from 10:30 to 12. We're here for you at no cost to answer all your questions, or as many as we can in the 90 minutes that we have. We've listened to some of your feedback, listened to some of our internal feedback, and this is a much shorter presentation than we normally do, and that's because there's not a lot of new stuff. But from what we're seeing in the questions right now and what we've experienced over the last week is that the questions are just getting more intense because, you know, PPP financing currently right now is supposedly ends June 30th. They're talking about possibly extending it. We're not sure. Hopefully SBA will jump on it today. We're also not sure about what they're doing. Yes, we're here for your questions. So let's see what we can do today. So brought to you by Northern California SBDC and the Finance Center. We're all in this together. My name is Scott Rogowski. I'm the director of the Finance Center for Northern California SBDC Network. I also have Sunita Maharaj on the phone. She is our associate director of the Finance Center. We're funded by SBA, Small Business Administration, on the federal side. And we're also funded in the state of California by the Governor's Office of Economic Development, which is called GoBiz. And because of this funding, we come to you at no cost. We come to business owners and organizations at no cost, and it's 100% confidential, one-on-one advising. And we also do workshops and webinars and educational events such as this, also mostly at no cost. For Northern California region, we go from the Oregon border down the coast to Santa Cruz. We cover all 9 counties of the Bay Area. Southeast is Stockton, then back up through the Nevada and the Oregon border. We cover the most 36 northern counties in the state of California. So we are here for you. The Finance Center, we're a division under Northern California SBDC, and what we do is specialize in nothing but helping business owners like yourself get access to capital, whether it's pre-COVID, you know, before COVID happened, we were helping a lot of startups, early stage businesses, and then also existing businesses expand. We're going to kind of go over that a little bit. And then during COVID, we've had to become experts on the disaster loans that exist and the new loans that are coming. So we'll go ahead and jump into this. We have a short agenda, as I mentioned earlier, because we want to get to all your questions, and these questions are going to take longer than normal, but they're good questions. So we have a disclaimer. We're going to go over the PPP, which is Paycheck Protection Program, Flexibility Act. We're still waiting for the new application. We check daily the Treasury's website. We talk to SBA daily to figure out when that's coming out. How we can help with other loans, SBA update if they join, and then Q&A. All right, so disclaimer. So things are changing all the time. This information was correct when we put it together, but things are changing all the time. Oftentimes, it's very common that we would be giving this webinar as we're doing right now, and SBA would also be on some sort of congressional like hearing or meeting at the same time, and things will change. Like we have a call at 3:30 this afternoon, and we'll probably get some information, new updated information. So there's still money available for PPP. We don't know how much, probably between 60 and 80 billion. As I mentioned, if you have not applied for a PPP loan, you need to do so before June 30th. Currently, EIDL advance, the EIDL loan is the SBA loan. It's economic injury disaster loan. There's an advance that you get before the loan if you check the box and depending on when you applied. That money is automatically going to go into your account. It's an ACH, kind of like a paycheck, and that's SBA. It'll say SBA D for disaster, And that's the EIDL advance. Usually you'll get the EIDL advance before you find out about your loan. Usually you don't get your loan before your advance. If you applied for EIDL before it shut down, which was about mid-April, they are going to get to you, just need to be very patient. There's ways that we can help you and try to figure out where you are, where your application is in the process, but we don't really have a lot of control over checking the status of your loan, where it's in the queue. We're not privy to lenders coming forward for Main Street programs. I spoke to some attorneys last Thursday, and they specialize in these Main Street programs more than we do. And they've also told me that there's some new changes with the Main Street programs, but there are no lenders currently that we know of doing these loans yet. But when we find out, hopefully this week, we'll let you know. If you're trying to figure out when to open in your county or your city and you're not sure, and you ask us and we're not sure, you can go to covid19.ca.gov/roadmap, and you can find out for your specific county or city. So those are our disclaimers. Sunita Maharaj is going to go over this Flexibility Act and talk about some of the changes. Sunita.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us again. I know we went over this on Friday and also Wednesday, but we did not call it the Flexibility Act. We just stated what was signed into law on 6/5/2020. So a lot of people were asking about the Flexibility Act, and this is the information right here. If you're funded after 6/5/20, then you automatically get the 5-year term loan instead of the 2 years. And if you were funded before 6/5/20, then you may change your loan term from 2 to 5 if there's an arrangement that's made between you and your lender. Most likely this will take place at the end of the term of your loan. So it's either the 8 weeks or the 24 weeks when you apply for forgiveness. As Scott said, we don't have a new forgiveness application yet, so we don't know what's going to be said on that. If I know there's a lot of questions still about transportation. We do not have clarification on transportation. I would suggest that you use the funds according to what is on the website currently of all the allowed items. So covered period is extended from 8 to 24 weeks, and 8 to 24 weeks until 12/31/20, whichever comes earlier. So you choose on, you get to choose on that. Allowed non-payroll expenses are increased from 25% to 40%. So those are the utilities, rent, interest, mortgage payment, utilities, gas, electric, whatever it takes to run that business, for utilities only. Allowed payroll expenses has been decreased to 60% instead of 75%. It used to be 75% and now it is 60%. So hopefully that'll give people more chance to get full forgiveness. Again, you cannot use that money for federal taxes. You can pay city and state local taxes, but not federal taxes with that. Payroll tax can be deferred even if you receive the PPP. That is a change as well. Recipients have until 12/31/20 to restore their FTEs. That's what it's currently stating from the Flexibility Act. We're also going to wait on what the application says. Hopefully they're going to give us more direction on what that means, if that has changed from what the original application says in regards to FTE hours, and how to know if somebody is full-time and if somebody is part-time. Any business who received their loan prior to 6/5/20 has the choice between using the 8 or 24 week period. First payment not due until 10 months after the covered period. Interest, though, is accrued day one, since the day you get funded. That's a question that we get asked a lot. That interest accrues right away. So hopefully you are working towards having full forgiveness, using the money appropriately, using the majority of the funds towards payroll expenses. So that way you have a better chance of getting full forgivability. Scott, you're up.
All right. Thank you very much, Sunita. Great job. Thanks for going over that. And hopefully we'll find out. There should be more updates this week. That's what we're hoping. I'm not sure if the application is going to come out like Sunita mentioned, but it might. And then there's some other changes that we're possibly going to hear with EIDL. Not sure if SBA, that wasn't on the Friday call, so I'm not sure if SBA talked about the changes with EIDL, Sunita. No. Okay.
Sorry, what was that?
Did SBA talk about the changes with EIDL on Friday or no?
Not really. They didn't really get into it. Not all the things that were stated on the Senate hearing. They didn't really go over any of that because they're not sure if it will open again up to everybody. I know I've been reading some things. It may or may not. So nothing is solidified yet.
Okay. All right. Thanks. All right. So we went over the changes with PPP. We didn't really go too much or zero into EIDL, and the reason for that is it's been, unfortunately, the EIDL has been sitting at idle for like last month and a half. But yeah, so we're still waiting on that. So how can we help with other loans? If we get a lot of questions outside of PPP and outside of EIDL, or if you didn't get enough money from PPP or EIDL, or as much as you thought you were going to get, there are other monies out there. And so if you are reinventing your business model, you're pivoting or transitioning, or you're going from a retail shop to an e-commerce shop, we can help you get money for that. We're calling it reinventing your business model. A lot of people use the word pivot. We can help with expansion loans. So if any of you are experiencing some sort of expansion, we can help with those loans. We can help with your, fortunately, buying a building right now, the rates are extremely low, almost the same rates, or maybe even lower the same rates if you're going to go buy a home on a 15-year mortgage or something like that. Rates for buying a building on the SBA side, we're not going to get really into it, but it's called a 504. There's two loans. There's an SBA loan and a bank loan. The SBA loan portion of it, which is about 40% of your loan, that rate is right around like 2.6, 2.7, something like that, super low. So more times than not right now, because of the market, if you buy a building, your mortgage is probably going to be less than your rent, which is phenomenal. It'll help with cash flow. So we can help you put those numbers together if you're not sure. We can also help you kind of work with your landlord and negotiate that as far as the seller's agreement and buying the building. We can do that for you at no cost. If you're consolidating some business debt, not personal, but business, we can help you get a loan for that. If you're buying equipment because you're growing or you need to replace equipment, like you're a brewery or something, we can help you buy equipment. Working capital. So working capital is anything that it would take to run and operate your business. Mostly it's payroll or advertising or supplies or inventory or cost of goods. We can help you get money for working capital needs. If you're selling your business because you're not sure if you want to stay in business and you prefer to sell it at a discount than go bankrupt, we can help you with that transaction. And then also if you're selling your business, you need somebody to get money to buy it, we can help the buyer. And startups. So we know that the economy is struggling, so there's not a lot of startups as there was before, but there is some sort of surge happening with startups. So if you're looking to take advantage of the opportunity that is being presented to us because of COVID, and you found a niche or product or service that could be a startup, we can help you get startup financing. There's plenty of lenders that are doing startup financing. They're not technically going on the news and telling everybody about it, but since we have great lender resources and connections, we can connect you with the lender at no cost. So what we can do for you on all these types of loans and COVID loans, PPP and EIDL, is we can essentially be your broker, your loan agent, your loan packager, your financial analyst, your bookkeeper, your CPA, whatever you need. We can help you at no cost, kind of put all this financial stuff together, understand what the lenders are looking for, understand what your numbers mean, We could talk CPA speak. We could talk bookkeeper speak. We know numbers, so we can help you at no cost. So that's what we could do. And we don't have, SBA didn't jump on. Maybe they'll jump on later. Not sure. So SBA support. So we have, real quick, any one of these loans right here, most of these loans will most likely be SBA 7As or SBA 504s. And if you were to get one of these loans today, from now till September 27th, SBA will pay the payments for the next 6 months. If you get it today, they'll pay the payments, principal and interest. It's not a deferment like the EIDL and the PPP, but it's actually, they're gonna pay your payments, principal and interest, for first 6 months, which is phenomenal. I'm not sure that's ever happened before, but there's a lot of things that haven't happened before during this. There's their phone number if you want to call about your loan. There's the email if you want to find out about your loan. You can put the application number in the subject line and you can find out about it. And then if you are in some sort of reconsideration process, meaning you were denied and you want to see if they can reconsider for you, there is a specific email for that. There is a process with that. We can help you and walk you through that at no cost. But it is kind of a process, and we're learning as we go every day with that too. So we ask you to be patient, but we're here for you. That's SBA's. And then this is our Q&A time. This is what everybody gets excited about. I know somebody told me that I like to gamify the questions to like make it a challenge and make it fun. It's one thing I do look forward to see how many we can answer and how fast we can answer them. You can call us if you don't want to watch us on this webinar anymore. If you have questions after, you can call us at 833-ASK-SBDC. You can go to asksbdc.com. It's an interactive website. Our marketing director, Aaron Phelps from Northern California, and his team is doing some excellent things, exciting things. More to come on that. Do you want to email us? You don't want to call, but you want to email? You can email us at loans@asksbdc.com. And if you speak Spanish or you want us to speak Spanish for you, we have a whole team that does that. They're out of Sacramento. They're the California Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. Julian Canetti is the CEO, and Oscar Garcia is the one that runs the SBDC affiliate program under the Chambers of Commerce for Hispanics. And you can email them at espanol@asksbdc.com. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get into our Q&A.
Can I just throw out there really quick, Scott? We get a lot of questions on, can you get more than one PPP loan? And no, you cannot. Even if you've exhausted your funds and you need more, you only get one PPP loan as of today. We don't know if they're going to extend it later on, if they're going to give more money, or if they're going to allow certain people to get more money through the PPP. But as of today, you only get one PPP loan per the law. Thank you.
All right, cool. Thank you very much. All right. And if there was a chance of possibly in the future getting another PPP loan, we will tell you about it. We're not saying that's going to happen, or I'm not saying it's going to happen, but there's a lot of changes. So, you know, we'll let you know, but thanks for making that clear. All right. So Sunita's been doing a great job answering some questions before we got to the questions. She's answered about 19. We have 42. We'll see how many we get to. And we have, look at that, we have 67 minutes to answer these questions. All right. So if we did not spend all the money in the 8 weeks, but finish it, let's say, finish the rest in 10 weeks, does that automatically take us to 24 period? So the answer is yes, but you don't need to, if you don't choose 8 weeks and you choose 24 weeks, but you spend it in 10 weeks, you can start doing forgivability at 10 weeks. You don't have to wait till 24 weeks. You could do the forgivability anytime between the 8 and the 24 weeks. Or you have a year after the period that you choose. So the period that you choose is called a covered period. You have a year. So if you choose 8 weeks or 10 weeks or 24 weeks, you have a year after that covered period to get your money 100% forgiven and turn on your paperwork. I will tell you this, we're not lenders, we're not direct lenders, but we work with them and we talk to them, and they're not ready for your paperwork right now. Even though last week was the first 8 weeks of the first funding, they're not ready for your paperwork right And neither are we, since the Treasury and SBA has not come out with the final application and forgivability paperwork, as Sunita mentioned. All right, I was previously advised that from my bookkeeper that I did not qualify for the PPP because I'm running a small business with no employees, only independent contractors, including myself. So you don't qualify, Brianna, you don't qualify because of your contractors underneath you, but you do qualify as a business owner. So that's wrong. I'd like to apply now, however, I'm not sure if I would still qualify because I accepted an SBA loan. So you still can, even though you accepted an SBA loan, there's no rules on that. You can have both. I'd much rather get the grant than the loan. I'm not sure where to go from here. With all the misinformation I've been experiencing, I'm a bit lost. Okay, yeah. I can see why you're lost. There is a lot of information, Brianna. So I'll go ahead and, Brianna, you can go ahead and email us or call us. So let me see. I'm just gonna type this real quick. And so you can email us, Brianna, at loans@asksbdc.com. Keeps moving. Or call us at 833-ASK-SBDC. Okay, cool. These questions are huge. All right. According to the SBA, there's a new extension, provides a safe harbor from reductions and forgiveness. Safe harbor from reductions and forgiveness based on reductions in full-time equivalent employees for borrowers that are unable to return the same level of business active to compliance requirements between March 1st and December 20. Okay. Secretary.
It's just a statement. I don't.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, so just want to confirm that this is correct. So it is correct. We are a private school. We had to close in March. May not be able to reach our full-time equivalent at any point. So, Megan, you just need to show that you tried your best through through documentation, whether you write a story about it or you write it in your journal or somewhere, or you write letters to the people that you tried to get back, but you weren't able to get back. As long as it's fully documented that you did your best to get them back, at the full 100% FTE before February 15th, then you're going to be okay. But you do have to try, and you have to somehow show that you tried. So my client is ready to accept EIDL and wants to know if accepting loan goes into her personal credit history. It does. EIDL loan goes, both EIDL loan and PPP loans go into personal credit history because they check it and it'll go on their personal credit, yes. It may not show up on their personal credit. It will track on their personal credit, but it may be hidden because it's a business loan and not a personal loan. And if you apply for a home loan, they may or may not be able to see it, but it still affects it, yes. Our nonprofit has been offered an EIDL loan. In the unlikely event we default, what happens? So if you default on any SBA loan, EIDL is direct SBA, there's no lenders involved. If you default on that, it's, from my understanding, it's a federal lien on your credit. If you're a nonprofit, then it's the person that will personal guarantee that EIDL loan, which I'm sure somebody has to personal guarantee it. So it'll affect that person for life unless they pay it off. It's just a federal lien, like a student loan. Triple P, if business owner Schedule C was not included in PPP application, can she still pay herself? If so, how best to do so? Well, it should have been included. For Schedule C, there's only one way to do the equation, and that's to take line 31, which is your profit or loss, divided by 12 times 2.5, and that's what you qualify for. So yes, the simple answer is yes to that question, Lori, but it doesn't matter if they said that they applied for payroll money or not in the Triple P. There's only one way to qualify for Triple P money as a Schedule C, and that's the way that we talked about. I'd like to know how my PPP loan can be 100% forgiven, as I'm a sole proprietor with no employees and with no clients and zero income at the moment. I was awarded $15,000 loan for PPP. The amount was equal to the monthly average of 2019 divided times 2.5. The funds were deposited in my personal bank account by my bank. I've been operating my consulting business out of my personal account for 7 years. Don't have this guy. I have not had any new clients since February and don't expect any in the next couple of months. What do I need to do to get 100% forgiven? I don't process payroll for myself. I usually spend the money out of my bank account. All right, well, this is a great question. It can be 100% forgiven. Actually, so depending on how you run your operation, Cynthia, I don't know if you pay for rent, but PPP can be used for 3 different ways, or be spent on 3 different things. It can be spent on rent or mortgage interest, whichever you have for your business. Utilities, which Sunita went over those a little bit, and then payroll. So payroll costs, and then the only non-payroll costs that are included or okay to spend on is rent or interest, mortgage payments, and then utilities. So depending how you run your book, Cynthia, the answer is yes, it can be. Do I know what it is specifically for you right here on this call? No, but I'm going to send you our information and you can reach out. We could work with you specifically. Since PPP changed for us at the end of our 8 weeks, there's not enough funds to pay people to stay home and there is not enough business to bring them back, so they need to file for unemployment. Are there any pitfalls or issues or warnings you have for us? Seems tricky now that they have a few bucks left to spend in PPP, but not enough to keep the people and don't want to get into trouble with whoever is in charge. Yeah, Elizabeth, it is a very interesting conundrum that we're all facing currently, you especially, since you're done with your 8 weeks. If you're done with your money, you're done with your money, and they have to go back on unemployment, they have to go back on unemployment. That's just, unfortunately, the way they wrote the law for these loans. So if you want to reach out to us, you can. We can help you more specifically, but the answer is, yeah, unfortunately, they do have to go back on unemployment. With your PPP, can you pay more than what is equivalent to the original 8 weeks of payroll, and in effect use it nearly all for payroll since there is now more time allowed? With your PPP, can you pay more than what is equivalent to the original 8 weeks? Oh, no, you can't. Well, do you know that answer? Can you?
Sure. So are you, I guess the question is are you asking, can you pay your employees more? Yes, you can pay your employees more. Can you pay yourself more as the owner? That is, no, not on the current application, you cannot. So if that is your question, then that's the answer. But if that wasn't your question, can you?
So Nina, I did see a different reading on that. I think what they're saying is they had the 8 weeks, but now they've got. Can they continue paying for another couple of weeks and still make it all go to payroll? That's my read on this?
So the answer. So thanks, Alan. So I was having trouble reading that. So the answer is no. So currently, you can only spend the max of what you were able to spend in 8 weeks and get it 100% forgiven. Even though they extended it to 24 weeks, you can't take what you originally were going to spend in 8 weeks and times it by 3 and do 24 weeks. You can't do that currently. We don't know if that's going to change. A lot of people are asking, well, the max for 8 weeks was $15,385 for any one employee at any one individual business owner. Did they increase that because it's now 24 weeks? And the answer is no. So I think the answer to you can spend it on whatever you want past 8 weeks, but it may not be forgiven, regardless if it's payroll or not, because of that 8 weeks. I have a home-based business and I'm finding it hard to come up with 25% infrastructure expenses as part of the PPP. Any suggestions? Well, there's a lot of suggestions, Colleen, but it's very specific to you, and I'd have to see your taxes to help you out with that. So go ahead and call us and email us and send us your taxes, and we'll figure it out for you. If the business fail and file bankruptcy after receiving PPP, are there any personal liability for the owner? The answer is yes. All owners over 20% are personally liable for PPP and EIDL loans, and it just stays on your credit as a federal lien unless you pay it back. Sunita, is it for SBA federal liens? Doesn't it stay on their credit regardless if they file bankruptcy?
Correct.
Okay.
A federal debt is like a student loan. You can't BK away this debt. So you're going to have to figure out some way to negotiate and pay it back.
Okay. For full forgivability in terms of restoring FTEs for PPP, if we take, let's say 10 weeks to end spending all of our PPP loan, would you compare our FTEs only in the 10 weeks versus the past periods that are the references, either of the two? Let's say 10 weeks to end the spending all of our PPP loan. So Norma, you just need to get to your full FTE that you had before February 15th by December 31st. It doesn't matter how many weeks it takes you per se. You just have to get there or show that you tried to get there. If you want to apply for a 504 to refi current note on your building, does the existing financing have to be been in place for 2 years? The answer is no. It could be in place for like a day. You just got to find a lender that's okay with that. But the answer is no. Can you have a cosigner for a 504 loan, or do you need to qualify on your own? You can have a cosigner. If you want to know more about that, Lori, you're asking some good questions. Just please email us and we'll help you out. How do you choose 8 weeks or 24 weeks? Do you have to register your choice with someone in particular? So again, we don't have guidelines on this, but we're being told that you're going to have to talk to your lender about this. Because you can't talk to SBA, and yeah, so the PPPs are coming from lenders. So you need to talk to your lender and talk to them, negotiate with them, chit chat with them. They're the ones that gave you the money, so they're the ones that is going to be able to help you with that 8 to 24. Where can I find information about PUA and PPP? We received PUA, then PPP on May 9th. If we do the 24 for PPP, and then that can be any 24-week period before the end of the year. That's not true. So if you do the 24 weeks, it's not any time during the year to spend the 24 weeks. It's 24 weeks, like that's it. It's nothing changed. You have from the time you get the money, and then you have 8 weeks or 24 weeks or 10 or whatever the heck you choose between 8 and 24. You don't have to, it starts like there's things that didn't change when these things change, and that is your covered period. So you can either choose your covered period, which is the day you get funded, and then 24 weeks from then, or you can choose an alternative covered period, which is the day you get funded and then your next payroll day within 7 days. And so that's how that works. So it's not any time. If that is the case, it makes more sense to collect PUA. I agree. It does make more sense to collect PUA until it expires in July, but you still only have 24 weeks from the time you get funded. So if you're like, we're in June, so June to July there's about 6 weeks left, right? From June to the end of July. So yes, could we do PUA until that, and then do PPP for 24 weeks until December 31st? Again, Dobby Snowbird, it's not, you don't have 24 weeks from now to the end of December. But yes, you can. We're telling people that, yeah, you should be creative with PUA and PUI. You should spend that now and then do triple P money later, because that makes the most sense. We're a nonprofit, so in July we have new projects starting and pay for the salaries of some of our employees. Can we just pay certain employees with the PPP loan, others with other funding sources? By doing that, we could still count all those that are not paid by PPP for FTE count comparison with previous reference periods. Norma, I mean, you can do what you're saying, asking, but I don't think it's going to help you with forgivability. So go ahead and please email us or call us. Sole prop, no employees, no income. Can you help me get status on my grant and loan? Mean really specific status, not just in the queue. Are there any documentation requirements for how the money is used? Can I apply for PPP too? If so, where? All right, Kimberly, you can apply for all those things. Just for PPP, just go ahead and email or call us at those numbers. We can get you to lenders, or lenders that we know. And then I will type something here that will help you with status.
Can I just, we have a ton of FTE questions. And unfortunately, we don't have the answers to that. When does FTEs need to be back on? Is it 12/31? Is it going to be 6/30? Well, you know, that date's going to be extended. What is considered a full-time FTE? All that could change on the new forgiveness application. So we don't know at this time, unfortunately. I wish we had more answers for you so that way you could move on with your day with this information. But we just don't have it. So I've been writing, we're waiting on the new application, forgiveness application a lot right now, but I keep seeing these FTE questions coming up and we just don't have the answers for you, unfortunately. But as soon as we do, we will present it and you will have it. And we'll try to provide it to you in a clear way once we get it. So thank you.
Thanks. All right. Our PPP started in mid-month May. We just have 2 questions. Is May rent allowed in full? The answer is no, as we cannot just cover it later half in practice. So the answer is no. Can't go backwards. Although, I mean, sorry, the answer may not be no, actually, because of if it was incurred or paid. So actually, I don't know, Catherine. For your number 1 question, I don't know, but we can find out for you, so I'll email you. Actually, you should email that to this other email in just a second. So depending on, Alan, can you put the email in there, the SFO mail at sba.gov? Catherine Heatley, go ahead and email that first question. Actually, email your whole question to both questions to SFO mail at sba.gov and they can help you. Because I don't know the answer. So good job stumping me, Catherine. All right. Good stuff. Okay. I will withdraw my paragraph 4 question. Oh, geez.
Take care of it.
All right, thanks. Keeps moving. Question regarding EIDL loan. Will my UI benefits be accepted if I accept my EIDL loan? Yeah, the answer is yes. You just can't use it for the same. EIDL is a loan. Yeah, it's a loan. It's not income. Neither is the grant. It's not income. It's a loan. Will your UI benefits be affected? The answer is no. You just can't use. You can't use UI to pay you personally and use EIDL to pay you personally. You just can't do that. You can't do both, but you can use EIDL for everything else. We received more money on PPP than we can spend in the 8-week period. This is due to having way more employees last year, but in the January to February 2020 timeframe, we have rehired up to that amount, but we'll still have funds left over. We have highly paid employees, so if I keep them on, we will go over the $15,000 limit. What would you suggest we do to get this forgiven? I would recommend, Kathleen, that you spend as much as you can for as many employees that you can up to the $15,385 limit to get it 100% forgiven. That's what I'd recommend. And if that takes you 24 weeks, great. If it takes you 10 weeks, great. I wouldn't recommend to spend over that. I mean, you can if you want, but we don't know if that's going to be forgiven. So that's what I'd recommend. But are payments for cell phone time a covered utility? Yeah, cell phones is right. It is, right?
It is if that is what you're using for your business. We had somebody else just ask the question. They had to give all their employees cell phones, and no, that's not one of the utilities that is approved for the PPP. That's part of operating costs, which you can use your EIDL for, but you cannot use your PPP to pay all of your people, that unless you name it something else, like a bonus, you're giving them a bonus to pay for that. So that would not be considered a utility. for that instance. But if you're using a cell phone to run your business, if I was running my business, I'm using a cell phone, that's what I normally do. Yes, that is that is considered a utility.
Our payment, okay, we had to give cell phones to our staff. Okay, cool.
That's the one I just answered to, sorry.
Thanks. If you sell your business after receiving PPP and EIDL, how long do you have to repay the loans? Also, are they both forgivable if I use them primarily for rent and payroll? So the EIDL loan is not forgivable. The EIDL loan is not forgivable. The EIDL advance is forgivable. PPP could potentially be 100% forgivable, but you have to spend the money the right way. So 40% on non-payroll costs, which is rent, utilities, or interest, mortgage payment. And then 60% or more on payroll costs. So Tracy, you have a good question, but I think you're possibly asking it the wrong way. If you sell your business after receiving it, how long do you have to repay the loans? Well, if you sell your business after receiving the money, depends on how you do it. You could sell your business for less, like sell your business for the amount, and then in this purchase agreement, minus what you owe for those loans, as they are, the new owners would be taken on the debt. Do you remember what happens, Sunita, what Heather said about it being transferable? Does it transfer to people if you buy someone's business?
PPP does not transfer. EIDL may transfer if they qualify for that additional loan. Yeah, PPP is not transferable, so they'll have to pay that off if it's not forgivable.
Okay. All right. So do we call this number if we want to start a loan, or do we call this number if we already have a loan? You call this number for any loan question. Doesn't matter what it is or what you think you're going to stump us with. It doesn't matter if you have a loan, you don't have a loan. It doesn't matter if you're in business or not in business, and you want to start a business or whatever, or you're going to potentially file bankruptcy. You can call us for anything regarding loans. Anything regarding loans. On the only one PPP loan, issue is that one per business. What if I had two or more businesses? Do you know how they're doing that? Because EIDL, you can get multiple EIDLs. Do you know how they're doing that for PPP?
Sorry, what was that? What was the question?
Can you get multiple PPP loans for multiple businesses? Or I think you can, right? No?
Yeah, if it has different EIN numbers. Yeah, so yes, you can. Each has to qualify on their own.
Somebody asked, can you apply for EIDL and PPP? Yeah, you can apply for everything. EIDL, PPP, PUA, PUI, all the new loans that the government's going to create tomorrow that we don't know about, all that. You apply for everything.
EIDL right now is only accepting applications still for agricultural businesses, though.
Sorry. Yeah, you can't.
As of 9:06 this morning.
We heard from a little birdie that EIDL might be reopening, but as of right now, it's not opening. And Sunita checks it religiously, like all day long. So if it's going to open, we're going to know probably before you. So we'll obviously communicate it with you. Do you know who I should contact to find out if our small business falls under those requirements for FFCRA? Yeah, you can just email us, Lisa. Just email us and we'll find out the answer for you. For a growth SBA loan non-EIDL, what would be the best way to start? Website, link. Jolene, just email loans@asksbdc.com or call us, and that's the best way. We received an email from SBA this morning stating our application is ready for next step.
They didn't receive the advance yet, and that is happening a lot. There are some people that are getting the loan now and then the advance later. So you should check, Miguel, with your with SBA. Email them back and ask them if you're gonna get the advance. There's before you used to get the advance first, and now some people are getting it after. So I'm not sure if they're changing their resources so that they can get through more deals a day.
Yeah. So if you guys have any questions, anybody on the phone, if you have any questions about receiving your loan before your advance, email sfomail@sba.gov. they're working on this for us. Since we cover 36 northern counties of the state, we have 2 SBA district offices. We're lucky and fortunate. So the one in San Francisco is working on these like weird one-off issues that are coming up that they said that weren't supposed to come up, but they are. I was wondering, I have to use PPP by 7/15/20, which I use almost all of it on the payroll. But today the union is having a strike in LA and Santa Barbara on 2 of my jobs. How workers don't want to cross the line as union, so my PPP may not be used. Will I miss the forgiveness? I don't know, Candy. It's a very specific question. I don't know when you got funded. You say you have to spend it by July 15th. I don't know if that's true or not, based on, you technically, anybody that says they have to spend the money by, anybody that thinks you have to spend the money within 6 months of you getting the PPP money, you're wrong. You don't have to, because now you have 24 weeks, so you can choose 8 or 24. So 24 is 6 months. So most people got paid. We're only 2 months into it, so you don't have to spend it right away, Candy. But you can email us and call us and tell us your specific situation. We can help you. My client was awarded EIDL at 30. Oh, looks like you answered. Okay.
Sorry, I just answered that. We're getting a lot of those questions again. Can they use the funds, PUA? Can they use EIDL? Can they use PPP? You can't double dip on anything. So if you're getting PUA and you get EIDL, you can't use EIDL funds to pay yourself. You can use it towards operating costs, but part of that cannot go towards your monthly income to pay yourself. Same thing with PPP. If you're receiving PPP and you're using it to pay yourself, then you cannot get PUA at the same time. When you sign off on a biweekly or bi-monthly basis with EDD, it asks you, did you receive or did you earn money this week? And you have to give them the correct information. Because if they don't catch you now, they will catch you maybe a year or 2 from now, and they'll ask for that money back. And I don't know if there's penalties or not, but just be aware that they will be checking that.
All right, business owner has employees paid through payroll as PPP. Owner is Schedule C, did not include Schedule C earnings on PPP loan requests. See, I think that's impossible. It doesn't make any sense. How could you not include Schedule C earnings on PPP loan requests? There's only one way to calculate it. Can she pay herself? Yes. Does she have to put herself on payroll, or can she just write a check to herself? Do you answer that? Can you just, I forget that question all the time. Can you write a check?
Yes, if that's normally, if that's your normal course of business, then yes, you can. You just have to show that they received it and say it's payroll, and then just keep copies of it, and you should be okay.
Okay, Patrick Loy, I don't know what you're asking. You're sf.gov, that doesn't have any information regarding my specific business. Well, it's not gonna have every business on there. Just email us and call us, Patrick. We can help you. I'm sure we can figure it out together. We received email from SBA to create an account on EIDL, our control number starting with a 3. When we open to create account, it's showing an amount approved. We are looking for a higher amount. How is this calculated? Also, we did not receive our $10,000 advance. All right. So, Miguel, Enrique, please email SFO. I'll type it in the thing for you. SFO mail at sba.gov.
I'll take it. I'll put it in.
Yeah, you should put it in like 10,000 times. All right. So I'm confused. I thought when the
sorry, I told her she's correct. I'll go to the bottom and start answering those.
Fine. It's cool. It's really weird. It just disappears. It's awesome. We've answered 93 questions. We have 11 more, and we have 37 minutes. So you guys better put a bunch of questions, or we're just gonna vanish. Hello, sorry I joined late regarding EIDL loan. Do I have to accept the loan for me to keep the grant? In general, do I have to do anything to make sure I keep the EIDL grant and not taking the EIDL? Mary, you totally really confused me.
I think the grant means the grant. I assume that's a typo.
Okay. It's really hard when I know everybody's typing fast and I don't type very well either, but it's just very, very hard to read these questions. So just email us, Mary, and we'll get your answer right away. Or call us. Just please call us. Like, we have people that answer the phone right away. Call us. After PPP or EIDL approved, how long we have time to accept it or not? Oh, PPP, I think PPP you only have 10 days. EIDL you have 60, I think, to accept.
Yeah, it says 60, but the documents that the clients are receiving are saying 30 days. They want you to figure out if you are going to take that money or not, because they're holding that money for you. So if so try and make the best decision that you can within that time frame, I would say. Yeah, the PPP, you don't have as much time. It'll tell you on your docs how long those documents are good for. It's lender specific, so you'd want to check with your lender.
Can I use my EIDL on my business credit card used for operating costs such as advertising? So if it's, Lynette, if it's a normal practice, meaning a normal pattern for you to spend on your credit card for operating costs and you pay it off every month, then yes, you can. But if you can. If you don't normally do that, and because of because of COVID, you racked up a bunch of credit card debt, the answer is no. You can't pay it off, but you can pay the interest monthly on it, as you would normally. Thank you for answering my question regarding unemployment benefits and EIDL. Just to be clear, I can receive and use my EIDL loan for everything else, but not income. And I can
operating costs, yes.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think I answered that question. Sorry, Alan, can you please put up the COVID-19 relief for small businesses, the document that I sent you, and it goes over the EIDL loan, what you can and cannot use the funds for.
Yep.
It's going to be in the chat. We're also going to put it on our Ask SBDC website, hopefully by the end of the week. So that way everybody can see directly from SBA what is allowed and what is not allowed. To pay off your long-term credit card debt or pay it down, no, you can pay payments, but you can't use those funds to pay it down, pay it off. You can only use those funds as payment. So again, we're getting a lot of questions like that in the Q&A.
So Marta, for your question, yeah, if you want to use unemployment and EIDL at the same time, then yeah, you can use unemployment only to pay you, and then use EIDL for everything else but to pay you. That's how you answer that question. Sorry, I read it. I'm really confused. Can I use all PPP money on payroll? You can. And you don't necessarily have to spend it on other non-payroll costs. You can use it all on payroll if you want to. It'll more than likely be 100% forgiven if you spend it all on payroll, because the non-payroll costs or expenses are like a little hairy. Is there a $15,385 limit on each employee, even though the period is extended? The current answer is yes, but it may change. But yes, the current answer is yes. The max is still $15,385. That doesn't make sense. I agree, Carolyn. It doesn't make sense to me either, but it may change. I understand the limit on owner. Okay. So great question, Carolyn, but we don't make the rules. If I already received PPP, do I still get the advance? Yeah. Just because you receive PPP doesn't mean you're not going to get the EIDL advance or the EIDL loan. You're potentially going to get both if you qualify for both. Add that email to chat for EIDL advance not received, but Margaret Jackson, it's SFO mail at at sba.gov. All right, blast it again one more time. Just go crazy, go nutty, Alan. Just do SFO mail.
It's back there.
100 times, okay?
That would be silly. It would be like trying to.
Well, here's the thing. I don't know what's more silly. You blasting it 100 times or somebody asking us the same question 100 times? You tell me. All right. In the past, you said credit cards are not long-term debt. So the idle loan can be used to refinance or pay or business credit card debt. Okay, so credit cards are not long-term debt because credit cards are supposed to be paid off within a year, so that'd be short-term debt. So you can't use the idle loan or PPP loan to pay off credit cards 100%. But you can use it to pay your monthly payments as you would normally do. I've also been told this by an SBDC advisor. Now you just said it can't be. Please care. Okay, Hugh, if you're getting it, go ahead.
Sorry, I'm going to put the document so it explains exactly what can be used with idle, so that way Hugh can get the information straight from SBA and have that document. It's also in the chat, but I'm going to directly give it to Hugh because it goes over exactly what's eligible and what's ineligible.
Yeah, Hugh, if you're having issues and you think we're telling you something different than what you're hearing in the field, call us. Pick up the phone and call us. And guess what? We'll give you the right answer because we know the right answer. And if we don't, we'll probably email SFO mail@sba.gov or we'll call SBA. Okay? We'll get it for you. But if you're hearing something different than what we're telling you today, it's probably wrong. But if you don't believe me, call me. We'll get it for you. If you sell your business after receiving the PPP and idle, okay, Tracy, you already answered that question. Yeah. I think I just heard you say that even if you neglected to include your solo prop draw amount in line 31 on the Schedule C calculation, you can now pay yourself a draw and that account towards PPP. So the answer is yes, you can pay yourself. We're not clear really how to do it, but because they haven't given us direction, we just included our 941 reports and the amount of our employee payroll, not my draw. I stopped taking UI because I don't want to double dip. Deborah, I would do UI right now. And if you have PPP funds, I'd put in the bank and let it sit there for a little while. And then when UI runs out or PUA runs out, then I would jump into your triple P money. But are new businesses eligible for PPP? The answer is no. You had to start your business by, you had to start your business before February 15th. Is that what it was?
Yes.
Yeah, you start your business before February 15th. Are sole proprietors eligible for PPP? Yes. Actually, anybody is eligible for PPP except for like the risque businesses and 501c6s and people that don't have US IDs. But yeah, everybody qualifies for PPP. I came in late. I'm needing the grant as I have a small fitness business and have received only $1,000 from SBA loan in April. My business was shut down 75% for shelter in place. Which grant do I apply for? Well, Janine, if you didn't apply for the EIDL advance, it's not a grant, the EIDL advance, it's like a grant, that's why it's confusing, but it's an advance. If you applied for that the right way, then you should have gotten it. If you didn't get it, so you got your loan in April, that's 2 months ago. So you can't apply for it anymore currently. You might be able to later, but you can't right now. If you want to email us, we can help you get other monies. An employee sustained a non-work related injury and is out for 3 weeks. Again, he was not at work. So 3 weeks. The injury is not through our workman's comp. We are back to work using PPP funding. Do I have to pay him while he's out? We have a documentation of his injury. Brian, I don't know the answer to your question. Please email us or call us and ask for this specific HR question. We have an HR law expert. Her name is Linda. She'll be able to assist you with this, and we can get that directly. Sorry, the last part was just the text and say copy what you were saying. I don't know what you're talking about, Robert, but I'll just put our stuff there. If we are forgiven the loan, let's say 90%, would the interest also be forgiven? Yeah, the interest is forgiven. If the money that you got forgiven is forgiven, then yes, you can. Can we get access to the audio for this webinar? Yes, you can. It's not right away, but it comes out. I don't know who sends it out, if it's Alan or somebody, or the recording for these calls. How do they find them?
So the best way to do that is to look on our SBDC website. They tend to get about a day afterwards. But you can also go to our YouTube channel. I shall post links on that any second now.
All right, crushing it. Look at that. 11:34. We got 26 minutes left. We answered 120 questions. But I think 20 of the 120 was at sfomail@gmail, at sba.gov. At Gmail, that'd be funny if it was at Gmail. All right. I use the PPP on all payroll. It is only for full-time employees. That's true. Only full-time, 40 hours a week. Can I use it for part-time employees? You can, but we don't know if it's going to be forgivable. We doubt it. The current application that came out, whenever it came out, I don't know when it came out.
It just shows them as half, but I'm sure that it's going to come, but that is forgivable. So what you're paying your employees, if they're part-time, yes, that portion is forgivable. If you're paying for the correct categories, but yes, it's forgivable. The FTE right now, the way the application reads, which is going to be a brand new one, is 40 hours or more is one full-time person. If it's under 40 hours, then it would be a 50% person, or there's another criteria that you can use as well. So that's why there's a brand new application that they're still trying to create to make it simplified.
Okay. How does bankruptcy impact your PPP application? It doesn't disqualify you, right? It just makes it super difficult, Brian. But depends when you filed it. If you filed it yesterday and then you applied for PPP, it'd probably be impossible. But who knows? I might be able to help you out there, Brian. But that's a good question. It makes it difficult. It doesn't disqualify you. It depends. Like PPP, the money comes from lenders, so lenders like to make up their own rules. SBA has no problem with you filing bankruptcy. It depends what you actually filed it for. If you frauded the government, then no, you can't get a PPP loan ever, probably. But depends. It kind of depends on the lender. It doesn't depend really on the loan program. For calculating PPP forgiveness, if I pay utility bills using my credit card, is it considered an expense incurred or expense paid on that date of payment? Depends when you paid it. I don't think it matters when you pay your credit card payment. It matters the date that the utilities was incurred, that you paid it. The day you paid it, because that's the day that you incurred it. I mean, well, you incurred it before, but that's the day that you expensed it, I guess. Obviously, we will pay off the credit card statement balance only on a later date. So I would like to know when the bills is considered paid. Date of bill payment using credit card or date of paying off credit card statement balance. So, Anil, it's the date that occurred. So incurred and expense. It's not the date you make the payment for the credit card payment. It's the date that the utilities were incurred. So I think you're kind of asking the wrong question, but it's not when you pay your credit card payment. While I applied for PPP, I did not get EIDL advance, but later I get EIDL advance. But later I get it. How does it work? PPP, strike. Oh, so when you do the PPP, subtract the EIDL advance. So you get, I don't know how to say this person's name, but Mr. or Mrs. Palomera, what you do is, say you get a PPP for 50 grand and you get the EIDL advance for 10 grand. Regardless of when you get the PPP and the EIDL advance, what they do is they take the EIDL advance and they subtract it from the total forgivable amount of PPP. So PPP was potentially 100% forgivable and you got 50 grand and you got $10,000 EIDL advance. Then they would take the 10 grand from the 50 grand and now your total forgivable amount with PPP is 40 grand. It just, the EIDL advance gets subtracted from the total forgiveness. I received an EIDL loan. My wife and I are both realtors. Is she also eligible for this loan? The answer is yes. Everyone's acceptable except for risque businesses and 501c6s and people that do not have US IDs. Everybody is available to apply for EIDL and PPP. Realtors, hairdressers, nail salons, which is what comes up the most, Schedule C individuals, sole prop, self-employed, whatever you want to call yourself, everyone qualifies for these loans. So can I pay myself the EIDL loan money on the weeks that I did not? The answer is yes, you can. You can do that. You just have to document it like very, 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 very well. If my full-time employee is only working 3 days, is she still considered a full-time if all the 2019 she worked full-time? And can I pay her full-time to have her qualify? So you can pay her full-time to have her qualify. If she works 3 days, I would say no, unless she worked whatever 40 is divided by 3, 13.33 hours a day, which I doubt she does, but I don't think you can. But you can pay her full-time. You can hire her to be full-time now.
Yeah, she has to work per the current application, which it's going to change. It's 40 hours is considered a full-time person.
Yeah. Once you start using PPP loan for payroll, don't you need to keep doing that, or is it really okay to stop using it while you're taking UI and have a gap between the periods of the weeks to use the PPP, i.e. we started using it for 4 weeks, then I could wait a month while it started again in August. I remember someone saying here that once you start it, you need to keep it continuously. Huh. I don't know, Deborah, that's a really good question. I recommend, Deborah, that, and I'll type it for you so you have it. It's a very specific, great question. Please email that same question, just copy and paste it. Tell Noah that you miss him or that we miss him on this call. And then ask him that specific question, because I don't know the answer to that one. That's a really good question. How much does your business have to be currently affected by the virus to be able to apply for PPP? There is no real designation of that question, Robin. Is it sometimes is it months after a downturn starts before risk? Okay. No, it doesn't really matter. If what really does matter though with the PPP is, say you had 10 employees before February 15th and now you have 5 employees, then obviously you were affected. But if you had 10 employees before the 15th and you still have 10 employees, well then, I guess you're a really good business owner to your employees, but it's just has the Paycheck Protection Program. It's very different from EIDL. It has everything to do with payroll. You can use it for rent, utilities, and interest mortgage payments, but it has everything to do with, mostly everything to do with payroll. So it's just people. Like if you are running at less people than you started with before February 5th, started the year with, then you are affected. Just apply. We don't tell anybody they're disqualified because that's not our job. Our job is to help you get the money. So I would just apply. Just apply. If you have any questions, reservations, apply. If you don't know where to apply, email us or call us and we'll help you apply. I'm using a loan calculator to calculate my monthly interest, and I put the loan amount, then the interest rate.
You can use 24 or you can use 60. So use both of those to Norma to see.
Look at that. We answered 138 questions. We have 18 minutes to spare. We'll stay on, or 17 minutes now. We'll stay on to about 11:50. Hang out, sing Kumbaya, do whatever you want, or we'll just, if you guys.
I can share with some folks some of the plans we've got coming for other webinars.
Yeah, let's do that. I'll be right back.
So whilst these are webinars are going to continue every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday answering your questions around loans, we've decided to move some of those guest speakers into webinars of their own, because we found we got some feedback that folks would come for the HR and we'd be handling the finance questions, or they'd come for the finance and they'd get this HR presentation. So we're moving people like that. So people like Terry and into a series of webinars we're going to be running pretty much starting this week on Thursday, and then every Thursday and Tuesday going in through to at least the end of July. Topics around HR and compliance, around moving your business to a digital space to help you with that. We've got a whole bunch of topics around there as well. Some stuff that we've done recently, so negotiating your lease with your landlord if you have a retail space or a restaurant. We've got a program we did recently where Paul Bazzo was sharing a cash flow tool. We'll be repeating that in a few weeks, so people can see how that tool works and use it to validate the cash flow. And starting this Thursday, we've actually got something on the possible use of exit strategies. So ways to, if you decided that this is a wake-up call that you might want to be thinking about getting out of your business, small business, and how you might be able to do that through sales or something like that. We have an expert who's going to be talking about owner readiness and how ready people are to exit their own business. So that gave us a couple of minutes, and during that time, we had a couple more questions coming for Scott and Sunita.
Yeah, one specific to Sunita. Norma Ferris is going crazy. Look at that, Norma. It'd be cool if you could put it all in one question, Norma, instead of like multiple. But Sunita will answer that separately. I'm not going to answer that live because it's very specific to you.
I was going to say, Norma, I would definitely, if you're an advisor, then email us. If you're not an advisor, email us. I really would like to get you hooked up with an advisor to answer all of these questions, because you have very specific questions in regards to this. And I think it's better for you to, because after we answer it, you're going to have other questions. I just know it because of how complex this can be. So please reach out to us, and we would love to help you. Thank you, Norma.
There was a question about how do you see previous webinars? We have a YouTube channel. So I just put that in the chat. That's youtube.com/AskSBDC. Also, all of these webinars go onto our Ask SBDC channel page. And if you go to the resources page there, you can see all the previous webinars that were these ones, the Q&A ones. But everything else also gets pushed to Ask SBDC. Or if you can't find it, something specific you're looking for, reach out to me, Montague at norcalsbdc.org. That's MONTAGUE at norcalsbdc.org.
Thanks, Alan. Hey, so has there been clarification on which union fringe benefits are forgivable payroll expenses? I have no idea how to answer that, Robert. So please email us or call us and say it's very specific around HR. Okay, we can help you. I'm really confused because if I hire my normal 18 employees, I really don't need them. Some of them are getting unemployment, and some of the 6 I have now only work part-time. All right, Esperanza, just email us, please. It's a very specific question. I don't know how to answer your question. There's a lot more questions I have to your question. Am I correct thinking that the initial deadline for getting back to February 15th FTEs was June? Yeah, the original deadline was June 30th. Now it's December 31st for FTEs. It did change, Raul. It changed to December 31st. You have to do your best to show that you tried really hard to get all your full-time employees back. The same number.
If you're doing the 8 weeks, if you have it at the end, your full-time employees of your last, then you could still use the 630. But, if you're going to use the 8 weeks, they're not making you wait until 12/31. So you are still under that umbrella. You can use the 8 or 24 weeks.
So I know I said we cut off at 11:50. If there's more questions, obviously we'll go to 12, but we've answered 146, which is a lot, but it's not our max, so you guys can still ask more questions. I think our max was like 180, but
Scott, you're like my wife. Every time she gets on the bike, she has to do a PR. You're not. It's not the same.
Every time, man. That's what it's about.
It doesn't have to be. We are providing our service, and if the questions get asked, we answer them. And if there's no more questions, I think that's proof that we've provided our service.
I think so too. It's funny that there's still 120 people on the call. Like they're just hanging out, chilling.
I guess I just wondering what you're going to say next.
Yeah. What? Oh, they're wondering what I'm going to say next. That's some funny stuff. Yeah, I have no idea actually. I don't. This is all ad lib. You know, I don't like, or improv, whatever you want to call it. I know you have answered this, but if we use all of our PPP, we just wait for our bank. No, we're actually waiting for the Treasury and SBA. But you have, Fallon, you have a year after you finish your PPP weeks or covered period. But you can email us, Fallon. We can help you start getting your paperwork together. But the banks aren't ready for this paperwork. So you're just gonna have to
I've checked some websites of local banks, and they're not ready for that yet. They're waiting on the forgiveness application, like we all are. They're not going to use the old application because at this point it's null and void. There may be some things that flow over to the new application, but most of that they're just not going to use. So we're waiting on the new application. The lenders are waiting on the new application. You just need to make sure that you have put, you know, whatever you've used your PPP money for, you know exactly where all that money is and went, and you have the documentation for that. So get together with one of our advisors, and they can help you maybe gather it and put it all in one PDF, one envelope or somewhere, so it's readily available when you're ready to ask for forgiveness.
What are the loans available and eligibility to get the loans? So Mr. and Mrs. Polmera, please email us specifically. We can't answer that question. It's too long of a question to answer, or too long of an answer to, yeah.
There's so many different scenarios, it's difficult to answer that.
I can't teach you that in 10 minutes. It's probably gonna take like 10 hours if you want to learn them all, but because the standard operating procedure with SBA is 300 pages. So you can go down there and download it and read it if you want, but just call us or email us. I'm not sure if I should keep paying my work compensation insurance. Yeah, I don't know if you should either, Erica. Please email us. You know, we can't make all the decisions for you. I don't really know that answer, or I've never gotten that answer or question. Email us specifically, ask the question. We'll get back to you on that one. I don't know. Yeah, we do have some. Oh, you're welcome, Erica. Thanks for telling us. Thank you. We do have some very specific ways that we can help you strategize and organize your financials to take the best possible approach with PPP and EIDL. We just don't have all the answers. And then we also learn by trial and error and guess and check and everything else. We're learning like everybody is learning. And we don't have all the answers because guess what? SBA doesn't have all the answers. DC doesn't have all the answers. The Treasury doesn't know what's going on. It's because guess what? They're creating it as we're speaking right now. Hopefully we get it this week. Who knows? Who knows? Who knows what they want to do? I don't know. We've answered 156 questions. We're not going to PR today. And they keep coming in.
You cannot use it for 1099 employees. They're asking if you can use PPP money for 1099 contractors. You cannot, because they can apply themselves. So Nikki, thanks for asking the question. It does get asked quite a bit, but no, you cannot.
I mean, we got close to a PR, Alan. We did 157.
And that's close, and we should be proud of that.
Yeah, I think we should close up the webinar.
I would agree, Sunita. I think it's time to do that. Give everyone
drop the mic and bounce, okay? Because we all gotta go live our day. I gotta answer 1,000 emails. Sunita's really busy too. Alan's busy. All of you have to go run your business, okay? So and do that. And call us. So we'll help you stay in business. So thank you very much. Bye. We'll see you Wednesday.